are arriving in Munich, Germany. It's always good to be back on the ground after 8 hours in the air. Good, more arrivals.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Dr. Tom.
Yeah.
How are you? Oh, and more people. Welcome. Welcome. Here comes a whole, good to see you, Doctor. And here comes a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
Right from Frankfurt, from New York. Greetings.
Help to, just tell us. Today we have rather, let's say, easy to have the local time. Which is, we can see the sign is München. München actually the name of Munich in German. It means monks or I.
I want to give you a quick overview of where we're going. Of course, there's Spain and France and Europe and Russia and Italy. We're zooming in right here on Germany, Switzerland, and Northern Italy. That's where we're going to be spending our time. So let's go back to Germany here. We just landed in Munich, and we're going to see Dachau, which is up to the north. Here it is, no, actually right there. And Munich, Dachau. We're going to come down around here to Oberammergau. See the Passion Play. Füssen, where the Disney castle is that everybody knows, in St. Gallen. And then we're going to spend 2 nights in Zurich. After Zurich, we're going to leave Zurich and drive through the Swiss Alps, always beautiful, and come down to Italy and spend most of our time right here in Milan, where we'll then fly back home to the United States. So that's our trip. There's our group walking to the beer garden, which is right there among those trees. Very nice place to eat lunch. So this is the beer garden that we stopped at for lunch. Very German food here, by the way. Look at that pretzel. That is a huge pretzel and huge steins of beer.
We took the smaller.
The smaller. And it's kind of nice. You can also do the self-serve up here is what our folks are doing. You can go and it's a lot of selection. Self-serve. That looks good. We then arrived at the Alte Pinakothek Museum. This means older art. It's art that is influenced by the Christian worldview. Let's put it that way. 1600s to 1800s, beautiful Christian-oriented art. The Apostles here by Albrecht Dürer. We have John and Peter, Mark and Paul. And then we walked over to the Rembrandts where I gave a talk. This is the life cycle of Christ. Absolutely brilliant. The birth and nativity of Christ here. The raising of Christ on the cross, which is my favorite, because if you notice, the man raising him has a Dutch painter's beret. That's a self-portrait of Rembrandt, and the centurion's handing you the lance and saying, you stick it in his side. You're the one that caused him to die. Here's Rembrandt's depiction of Jesus being taken down from the cross and being prepared for burial. And here is the risen Christ looking you right in the eye. And then the ascension, the glorious ascension into heaven. Here, by the way, is an interesting painting, a self-portrait of Rembrandt. I couldn't wait to come see them, so we drove from Switzerland here to see these paintings. I came here just to see these, but the whole place is marvelous. And this is Rembrandt's Life of Christ. And if you notice in all of them, the source of light, what's the source of light? Christ is the source of light. It's remarkable. And I want to start first with, well, mainly I love this one right here. Now, I'll tell you why. It's called The Raising of the Cross. And if you notice, this guy right here in the middle, I can't get too close. They have electronic alarms that go off if you get too close. Did they wear hats like that back in biblical times?
No, I doubt it.
What kind of hat is that? It's actually called a Dutch painter's beret. A Dutch painter's beret. That is a self-portrait of Rembrandt. Who's raising Rembrandt up on the cross? Jesus on the cross. Rembrandt. It wasn't the Jews that put Jesus on the cross. It wasn't the Romans that put Jesus on the cross. Rembrandt understood the whole meaning of the gospel. It was his sins that put Christ on the cross. He's the one that's raising the Christ. What he's saying is every one of you could step into my position and wear your hat, Steve Ray with his Tilly hat, or whoever else, and you get in here and you start pulling Christ up and raising him up on the cross. That, to me, that is just stunning. It's just, I have used this so many times in illustrations. If you notice also this guy.
Don't get too close.
Yeah, I'm going to set off the alarm. This guy here, he's the centurion overseeing the whole thing. And it's hard to see, but in his hand, he has a sword or a lance. And he's holding the blade. When you get a chance, come up and look at it. He's holding the blade and he's handing you the handle. Although what's he saying to you there? You're the one that put him on the cross. You take the lance and pierce his side. You're the one that did it. You pierce his side. You raised him on the cross. Here, take the lance. Take the sword and pierce him in the side. So this is the whole thing of Rembrandt saying that Jesus died, not necessarily. You know, sometimes it's easy to say he died for humanity, this whole thing, but this is much more pointed. Yes, God loved humanity. You can really love humanity and not like people. You know, I think Marxists are like that. Marxists, and so they love humanity, but they don't like people. They hate the individual and any individual having freedom. Rembrandt is saying Jesus may have died for all of humanity, but guess what? He died for you. You're the one that put him there, and he is doing this for you because of his love for you. We're arriving at St. Benno's. Americans don't know who St. Benno is. St. Benno is a very popular saint here. In fact, he is the patron saint of Munich, and I'm going to explain to people who he is once we get inside for Mass. The inside of this church is beautiful, and the church is dedicated to St. Benno, who was a bishop who had his keys for his cathedral by the king thrown into the sea, but a fish brought it back out, so he's always pictured with a fish, and his relics are here as well.
The entrance antiphon for St. Lawrence, deacon and martyr.